Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. My name is Yusuf, and I'm here with my co-host Adam.
What's up, guys?
Don't get, I can hear it in your voice, Adam. We just lost against Real Madrid 3-1 at the Bernabeu, and after that international break, we played Inter Milan, we lost that first game 1-0, then we drew them 3-3, and now we lose the top of the La Liga table. We're down 3 points on Real Madrid. The one thing we said we needed to accomplish, especially after pretty much our fate is sealed going into the Europa League, I think, and I'm just not happy about the performance of this game. We came out and we looked like we were already defeated from that Inter Milan game.
Well, it's not even that
low energy.
The thing that kills me is just how entirely predictable the loss was and how the game would go, right? Like, when you just run down the line of things that happen, I bet if we had, in a twisted world, been like, we're going to lose, let's predict how we lose. Eric Garcia can't defend one-on-one and gets a penalty late when we need a goal. We again try the Rafinha Dembele right and left wing experiment that hasn't really worked at all this season. And they again perform poorly because our midfield is not getting the ball quickly out to our wingers so that they can use their speed. We're always getting them out to them when, the defense is set and ready to defend them. And then a lot of times, Sergio Roberto in particular is not providing any overlapping runs or attacking the half spaces to give them outlets. Oh, I'm getting my blood boiling just saying this, right? Busquets, again, we had this whole video last week after Inter Milan where we talk about the end of an era, right? The end of an era, and how it's just become more and more clear Bussi's not the man for the job. He gets in this game, and Toni Kroos and Luka Modric, who are also older players with a lot of years on those legs, they just run circles around him, right? In that first goal, you see Busquets trying to foul Kroos. He's so slow and just so not on his peak form right now. Not even close to his peak form, but just so replaceable, to be honest, right now, that he can't even foul Toni Kroos in enough time to get, the yellow card and to stop the goal, right? Kroos gets it out to, I think, Vinicius or Mendy, and, a little Ter Stegen unlucky rebound goes to Benzema, and they score that 1-0 goal. What else is predictable here? When Barca have a chance to counter, all we do is pass it sideways and let the opposing defense regroup, right? We're not getting the ball out quickly to use the speed of our wingers, like I was saying. And then, it's a Clasico for the last few seasons. And this is how Real Madrid win games. They lull you into a false sense that you are accomplishing things with your possession when you're really not, right? And then they can hit us because they're using the speed of their wingers very effectively. They can hit us on these breaks, get the ball, shots on goal, rebounds to put the ball in the net, or to get, Valverde a shot from the top of the box where he's basically not defended for 2 or 3 seconds. And it's so tough to see your team continue to be exposed in the same ways. And Xavi, the heat is turning up on him, right? I'm not going to say I want Xavi replaced because we can't just keep replacing managers all the time. We've seen with Man United that is really not the best way to go. But we need big changes, right? Sergio Busquets should not be starting games. Like, at all.
Well, not just
especially
that.
Big games. No,
but our defensive line wasn't even set up properly on that ball forward to Vinny Jr. on the left side. Balde's keeping him onside. He's already breaking away. We didn't set an offside trap. Our defense is nowhere to be found in that case. It was...
Well, we're
just frustrating to watch.
High. We're pressing so high.
Yeah.
That and then we don't have the speed we really need on that back line. I mean, Koundé comes in and actually does pretty well. I think of my 2 favorite players in this game, Koundé and Frenkie de Jong are probably the top 2. But Sergio Busquets shouldn't be near this top level right now. And then even Pedri looks like he's being overrun, just playing too many games. He looked very tired. His passing was not good. It's very interesting to me that. And one bonus I will give Xavi is I liked how in the second half when he put on Gavi, he took off Busquets, not Frenkie de Jong. That's not something we've seen him do. But our midfield looked a lot better in the second half when we didn't have Pedri and Busquets on the field, right? That's just...
talking of subs, though, we're down 2-0 at the end of the first half, and the second half rolls around, and what changes do we make? Team comes out, same lineup. Team comes out, same energy. Team comes out, same strategy. Push the ball, hold on to the ball, don't move their defense, right? Don't create any space. Nothing is happening, no dynamics, no fluidity, and then you just end up getting the ball maybe out to Dembele or Rafinha, and they try a cross, and nobody's in the box. Louis trying to be very aggressive, and I think he He's a strong player, and he's able to push guys around. But, when you have three people surrounding him and he gets this cross that flies over the top, there's nothing to do.
And that's the issue, right? Is that our wingers are so far on the touchline and not making runs inside, and our midfield is not trying to overlap in the box often. So you just have Rafinha or Dembele just trying these crosses to Lewandowski in the box, who's covered by both center backs, because there's not anyone else creating a threat up front. And Frenkie de Jong is helping a little bit to try and create that. But I think for the rest of the season, we're probably going to have to employ him as the pivot in this team. So that already takes away one of our players who does a good job of running in the box. And it's really time for us to talk about, should Rafinha and Dembele be starting, not just starting together in games, but starting at all. Like, I think Dembele has gotten a little bit complacent. He doesn't really have that competition. If we think about last season and kind of why he was able to take his game to a really good level, it was in part because he had Adama Traore who was threatening for his spot. He was trying to play for a new contract, right? All the reasons we talked about last season. And this season, he's been the out-and-out starter, and we're not putting him in a position to do well. And then he's also, I feel like, a little bit complacent. And so we need to start, using a front three that doesn't include Dembele and Rafinha at times. You have Ansu Fati come in. You have him, make a great run, get it into Lewandowski, and then Ferran Torres puts it away for our only goal. And, Ansu, unless there's something behind the scenes we don't know about with his health, it seems like he really needs to be playing a much bigger role in this team. And Ferran Torres, it's kind of crazy, but his last goal in La Liga was actually in El Clasico last season, the 4-0. And so I'm hoping this goal will either inspire him, or somehow we need to play Real Madrid every week. But I'm just frustrated. There needs to be a lot of changes, right? Like this lineup, the only big thing that was surprising to me was that, we had Frenkie, Pedri, Busquets, no Gavi in the starting lineup, which, I was hoping would turn out well. Obviously, it did not end up going that way because, Kroos, Modric, and their midfield just ran circles around us.
Yeah, I think with the schedule that we have this October, it's already rough. Our players are getting overworked. We need to make good substitutions, different starters, different lineups, and make them strong enough to withhold these coming games, right? We're going to have a game this Thursday against Villareal. Then we have another game on Sunday, and then another game against Bayern Munich on Tuesday, I believe. So
and those two games are against top 10 La Liga teams, too. Villareal and Bilbao.
Yeah. And so we just dropped 3 points, like you just are alluding to, the fact that we're going to have a rough time against these teams. And, what happens if we play the same lineups? We're going to have Pedri come out. He's been an all-out starter, and he's going to look tired because he doesn't have enough rest. We're not transitioning our players enough. Like I already mentioned, Xavi did not sub until, I think, the 60-something minute. Why are we playing players that don't need to play? And he took off Dembele and Rafinha, but why are we playing players that obviously look tired? They need to rest, and we're down 2-0. We need to change something up. So at the end of the day,
we just need to attack faster. Right? That's what it comes down to me. There's two things that really bother me. One, we'll see the ball go forward quickly, and then we'll see Dembele, a lot of times Dembele, sometimes Rafinha making a run, and then our midfield will just slow the attack down. They won't get the ball out to the wingers on the run, and we just let their whole defense just settle up and get ready for what's coming. And then two, the thing that really pisses me off, Yus, is that it seems like our team only gets a fire under their backside when we're down or when we're chasing a goal. Like when you look at the Inter Milan game, once we go down, then everyone starts going crazy and playing well, and like the offense is moving quicker. It's only when we're down 2-0 and we make the sub off of Busquets and Pedri that all of a sudden our offense starts to look a bit better. And I need to see that fire from the team earlier. And not only is there an issue with the tactics Xavi's using and the players he's playing all the time, it's also that I just feel like he needs to figure out how to motivate these players, because I don't see the fire in their eyes that we need. Right, and it was really easy when we sacked Koeman and we put Xavi in for him to get the players excited. But now that we're going into a season, we just had a big dry spell. Like we're on the verge here of a big collapse. Villareal and Bilbao are not easy teams to beat, and so we need to see more from everyone.
But my question here is, how can you inject that, like in Inter Milan, that 3-3 draw, there was just a intensity that the team had and the energy that they were bringing. They were looking to score. They were fighting. And I know, maybe they've already gone down, and then that whole second half was just ludicrous. But where was that against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu? Where was that energy? Why are the players not motivated to win this game? This is one of the biggest games of the season. You're fighting for the top place in La Liga, you know that they're going to come out and, it's the Bernabeu. They know they're going to come out and they're going to fight you. So why are we struggling? So why are we having some of these midfield players bringing up the ball? And I saw it, just an example with Frankie de Jong, but he holds onto the ball, looking side to side for a pass. Their defense already lined up, and I'm sitting there like, well, you either have to move to create something and move their defense, or the other midfielders, other wingers, right backs, left backs have to move themselves to move their defense. It's not going to happen, right? Real Madrid's not going to reorganize their defense because we just stand in front of them. So where is the creativity?
A big thing for me, and I think you're totally right, I feel like a lot of times when we play Real Madrid, the games we do best is where it's very open-ended, right? Where like they're going for an attack on our end and then we quickly transition it back to an attack on our end, and we just didn't have that this game. And I think with Dembele and Rafinha, or Ferran or Fati or whoever we're going to start, our best way to attack is to get the ball out quickly, because we've seen too many times this season, and it's a Barca thing that's happened over the last 4 or 5 years as well, where we just have so much possession and then we don't win these games, right? It's like I just feel like Xavi and Barca managers in general are kind of sticking too much to an old template for how we used to win games, whereas the new best teams in the world, they're able to really attack quickly and transition the ball fast. And I would much rather have that. I'd much rather have 2 shots on goal, 2 goals, than to have 80% possession, 10 shots and like 0 goals, right? Like, I mean, of course you'd rather have the goals, but I mean to say, like, possession for possession's sake is something we used to criticize all the time under Valverde, and this offense has gotten awfully slow and stale lately. And Pedri, who's one of my favorite players for sure, had an off game. Like I said earlier in the video, it's partially because of him playing too many minutes, but he was really holding the ball too long and not getting the ball out quickly.
I mean, you bring up a good point with that whole thing, because in terms of speed and being able to move the ball is so important. And I think Jalil, the purist, had talked about how, Xavi's strategy is high risk, high reward. But in this game particularly, it doesn't seem like it's high risk, high reward, because we're not moving the ball, right? We're very stagnant. We're not creating. We're not giving. The only risk in this game was the fact that our defense was so bad. Our defense had such a poor defensive line that they were easily kept on. Real Madrid was easily kept onside and are faster than us and could break that line real quick and then score on us, right? And then it just brings, like, okay, it's high risk, high reward, but we're not even risking anything this game. What could you say that we risked, right?
Yeah.
I guess, like, I would say, sure, in other games, but this game in particular, I didn't feel like that. And at the end of the day, I'm thinking, like, okay, what do we have to do to change this? How is Xavi? Is it fully tactics? Is it player mindset? Is it the youth of the team? Is it the seniority of the team? Like, we have a lot of things going on. We have a lot of young players. We've already ditched PK and Alba pretty much, but we still have Busquets in there. So we can't only say, oh, it's the older players, the old guard that's really fully bringing us down, because we have Pedri, we have Gavi, who are these young studs that do come in, but they are... They still have a lot to learn. They're doing wonderful, but that doesn't account for Dembele, Rafinha, Lewandowski, and all these other players on the pitch. So I don't know. I don't want to be too negative here, because we're not here to just mope around and say how awful this team is, because we've had some positive features of this year.
I mean, but maybe I guess I'm just hoping, and I did see some change that Frankie started and that Busquets came off for Gavi in the second half. Like, I'm hoping slowly Xavi will understand that, like, big adjustments need to be made. Part of our last video was talking about, like, Xavi and his stubbornness, and how some people from his time at Al Sadd were talking about how he would just keep playing the same thing. And, like, it's clear that Xavi's trying to implement the same tactics over and over, but he's not changing the tactics we're using. Right, and I feel like at some point you have to just look at how the season's developed and understand that, okay, we need some big changes here, right? And I think it starts with taking out Busquets and trying a different midfield combination that doesn't have him. I know it's tough, and I know it's, like, really, really not easy, and we've tried a few players to be a Busi sub, like Nico, And, Frankie, now we're going to try, I think we tried a little bit last season, but we should really just have for the rest of the year, Frankie de Jong putting in 60 minutes as the pivot and see if he can give us what we need. We don't talk a lot about the whole salary imbalance and Frankie's issues, but unfortunately, we pay him too much for the output he's giving us. But I think it's just a sunk cost at this point, and that we might have to.
We also don't play him a lot, though.
True.
So even if you say his performance is now not being put out, it's like, well, how many minutes is he getting compared to Busquets, Xavi, and Pedri, right? And we said this about other young players like Balde. Like, we just got to give him minutes. If we don't give him minutes, how is he ever going to fully develop into that role? If that's what we're trying to get him into, it's really hard to rely on a player and expect them to fully perform in a position that they don't necessarily aren't fully accustomed to, and then we hardly play them in that position.
Yeah, and then they get one appearance there every 6 games, and you're like, oh, he didn't do well. It's like, well, and that's what I was getting to, is we need to give Frankie a prolonged period of time as that CDM. But I mean, guys, it sucks, right? Obviously, this is not the way we wanted it to go. Unfortunately, the October from hell has really been from hell. And, things haven't gone our way. I'm hoping the team will just, figure out how to improve. And then we have the World Cup. And, with how many games are going to be played, and then international teams, with how many injuries might be picked up, it's a long season to go. Hopefully when we go back to the Champions League and we beat Bayern, hopefully Inter Milan will have lost to Pleasant, in which case we still are alive in the Champions League. But, Europa might be our path, but La Liga and Copa are certainly 2 trophies we want to try and win. Even as hard as it is to see now, I think, there's still time here for Xavi to right the ship. But, let us know in the comments what you think, how you're feeling. Vent out some of your thoughts to us. I think that's all we got, right, Yus? Thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Smash that subscribe button, and we'll see you on Thursday. Thanks, guys.
Peace.